do get started, I think we owe the mayor, Brian Barnett, a round of applause for getting back in office. We're very happy over that. Today is Veterans Day, and we're here to honor all veterans, either they're in war or not war. All veterans that have ever put on a uniform. We treat them all equal out here. It should not be a day of sadness, but a time of pride and reflection on what the veterans have accomplished and their freedoms. Some call it Remembrance Day in Canada. In the United Kingdom, they call it Remembrance Sunday. And here in the United States, we call it Veterans Day. So with that, we'll get started. We're going to have the raising of the flags. Just tie it off, guys. There you go. Jim Queen and Jason Murray are veterans, and they're also with our fire department, and we want to thank them especially for their service for 24/7 throughout the city that they perform. Thank you, guys. Honor Guard will post the military cross.
Honor Guard, halt, right, face, post the honor.
Spin it around.
Present, one. Order, one. Honor Guard, right, face, forward, march.
Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jeffrey Bowler to come up to the podium. He's been involved in a project out here that you probably see a black plastic bag over that's been going on for a few years, and I'll let him take over.
I'm going to go pull the string first.
Oh, okay. He's
So
gonna.
if Ed did this right, it'll come off.
It should be right. This is a project that's been going on for a few years, and he's done a lot of fundraising. Before that, I've known him for going on 12 years, 15 years. He's got me involved with the Eagle Scouts and different things like that. He's raised money for our VA hospital trips and different things. Quite an individual. Okay, he's going to unveil it right now. Now, every good plan has a backup plan, and of course the clock is the first #1 plan, and if that clock should ever fail, we've got a sundial to the south of this park by the restrooms. So if that happens not to work one day, just go out there and check it at the sundial.
When you look at the clock, At the top it says, "Time remembers." That's the saying that we're dedicating on this clock today. A special thanks goes to Marilyn Miller. Where are you, Marilyn? She came up with the saying. We were at the office and I just asked and she came up with it. But we want to remember that freedom is never free. We want to remember our servicemen and women have been away from their families and have missed countless holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries to serve our country. We want to remember that although we have a very strong arsenal of jets, tanks, bombs, and drones, it is those men and women who serve so valiantly who truly make our military run. In the Bible it says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." We remember all of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. We need to remember, in the words of Elmer Davis, "The nation will only remain the home of the free as long as we are the home of the brave." My hope, and the hope of all who put time and or money into this clock to make it a reality, is that in all time we remember the sacrifices and courage shown by our veterans and active personnel who have served this great country. Please do remember.
Guys, at this time, we're going to have the national anthem by Mark Tisdale, councilperson.
Apologies. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, at this time, I'd like to present our mayor of City of Rochester Hills, Brian Barnett, and also Congressman Mike Bishop to please come up to the podium. Yep. Also, could Jason Everett, Captain Jason Everett, and also Lieutenant Peter Everett please come up. As you guessed, this is father and son. Yes. And Peter Everett was a lieutenant in Vietnam, and Captain Everett was in Afghanistan and Iraq and a few other places, and he's still currently in the service. These service medals are the Vietnam Service Medal and also the Service Medal for War on Terrorism. And I personally want to thank Terry Williams for the medals that she gave us to present out here today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry about, I hope that everybody can hear in the back. I want to first begin by saying how proud I am for the opportunity to serve this community. I'm a lifelong resident of the Rochester community. I am never so proud as I am on days like today, on Veterans Day, when we have this opportunity as a community to stop and pay tribute to all of our brave men and women, the heroes of our country who have served this country. And I've had several events this week, and each one of them are very heartwarming. And I just want to say thank you to all the citizens who have come to be a part of this, to pay tribute to these heroes and to their families. And I want to reflect on the fact that we certainly would not be the country we are today without their service. We have veterans here from World War II, from Vietnam, from Korea, from Desert Storm and the various other wars throughout our nation's history. And all of you that served in peacetime and at war have done your service to ensure this country continues to be free. And I want to tell you, on behalf of a grateful nation, having the opportunity now to serve in Congress, to tell you on behalf of the colleagues that I work with, how incredibly honored we are by all of you. And it is truly my honor to be here to be able to say that. So, at the very least, I hope that we can convey to you our gratitude. You've given so much. Many have paid the ultimate sacrifice. For those of you who are here who have lost loved ones, who paid the ultimate sacrifice, our heart goes out to you. And I hope that you feel the arms of your community wrapped around you today. We'll never be able to replace your loved one, but I hope you feel the peace and strength of this community that loves you and appreciates you and honors you. I know that government doesn't always project its gratitude. I'll be the first to tell you I would agree with that concern. But I want you to know, from one member of elected government, this to me is the most important thing that we do, is to honor those that served. And I know there are many others that I serve with that feel the same way, that are doing the very same thing today. So I'm here today to say thank you, to salute you for your service, to thank you for all that you've done for this community. And I look forward to working with you in the future, long into the future. As a proud resident of the Rochester community, I'm grateful to be your neighbor and to be a part of this big family of ours. Have a wonderful Veterans Day, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Congressman Bishop. Good morning, everyone. This is, I believe, the 9th Veterans Day ceremony that I've been a part of, and I can tell you unequivocally, this is the biggest crowd that we've ever had. And while some driving by might think it's because we have great weather today, I would tell you that it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that this community appreciates its veterans and appreciates them in such a way that we've created in the most center part of our community, this intersection, a spot where we will forever take the time to remember those who've given so much to serve our community and our nation. This point, Veterans Memorial Point, is a fantastic story in and of itself, created by local veterans, cared for by veterans, recognizing veterans from nearly every war and conflict since our nation's beginning. And each and every year I come to this celebration, I see some familiar faces. I see the Malsons that are gathered here beside me, whose family lives in the neighborhood that I live in right behind us here, whose son's service and memory is memorialized by the red flower in the bench in the middle of our gathering. I see the veterans that I know from the Knights of Columbus and from our VFW hall that are here each and every year, no matter what the weather is, that recognize, support, and encourage those veterans and their families. And all I can do simply as not a member of the service is say thanks. From someone who enjoys living in this community and in this country because of your selfless service, I say thanks. Thanks for me, for my wife, for my 11-year-old, and for my 10-year-old. Thank you for giving of yourselves, and thank you for making our community and our country the greatest nation on earth. I'm honored today to introduce the keynote speaker. It's a gentleman who I've got to know over the last few years who really there's no better person to speak today than someone who has crossed both lines of government and of serving in our military. Mr. Kevin Brown is a graduate of Michigan State University and the University of Michigan. He joined the United States Navy Submarine Force through a Nuclear Propulsion Officer Candidate Program in 1993. This is hard to say, but follow me. He graduated from the Naval Nuclear Power School, the Naval Nuclear Prototype School, and Submarine School. Was deployed to the Mediterranean with the George Washington Battle Group on board the USS Toledo in the fall of 1997 and served his country well. Completed his commission in October of 2000 and since has held various roles with TE Connectivity, including resident engineering, product management, product marketing, and sales. You may recognize him and his name because he is an elected member of our City Council, representing the City of Rochester Hills at large, currently serving on the board for the OPC and RIA, and continuing to serve his community now as a member of our City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Kevin Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Barnett, for the warm introduction and the opportunity to speak today. I'm glad we've got great weather and a great turnout here. I've been here a few years when it's not been so warm and a few snowstorms in our past. I'd like to recognize some of our guests today. Congressman Mike Bishop, Michigan Representative Mike Weber, who's back, former City Council member, Mayor Barnett, City Council member Mark Tisdale, the city directors and staff that are too many to name in person, but they're scattered amongst the crowd here. Captain Johnson from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, Chief Canto from our Rochester Hills Fire Department, Ed Leafdale and the VFW team that we have here, our Knights of Columbus, and Captain and Lieutenant Everett, appreciate your service, and all the active duty military members, our veterans, their spouses, widows, and the residents of the Rochester Hills and greater community. Thank you all for coming out today on this 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour of the day to honor our veterans of all wars and times of service. A special thank you to Councilman Tisdale for a wonderful job singing our national anthem. We were all waiting for that this year. It is a unique time and date for us to have a federal holiday, and it warrants just a few minutes to explain why we are here at such a specific day and time every year. Originally, Veterans Day was designated as Armistice Day, to mark the exact date and time of the end of the fighting during World War I, generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. Unfortunately, as you all know, this was not technically the end of all wars. And in 1954, President Eisenhower designated November 11th as Veterans Day to honor all of those who served. And during the 1970s, there was an attempt to observe all federal holidays on Mondays. The goal was to encourage travel and recreational and cultural activities. Give us all a 3-day weekend. The backlash for this specific holiday was significant. And thanks to Michigan's own President Gerald Ford, Veterans Day was moved back to its original date and time starting in 1978. As a veteran of the U.S. Navy Submarine Force, this is a very special day for me. And this corner is a special place for the city of Rochester Hills. If you haven't had the opportunity to walk around, I would encourage you to spend a few minutes afterwards to recognize some of the special memorials and tributes that we have to our armed services and veterans here. We've had several Eagle Scouts in our community support projects here at the memorial, and it reminded me of a particular passage in a book that I received upon graduation from submarine school in Groton, Connecticut. Bit of the background. Admiral Fluckey was a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient and commander of the USS Barb in World War II, a diesel submarine. And he wrote in his war patrols a book called Thunder Below. And it was a gift given to every submarine school graduate, officer submarine school graduate, upon their graduation. During his 12th and final patrol off the coast of Japan, he noticed a train bringing munitions to the Japanese naval station near Patience Bay at the same time every day. And he was a fairly creative submarine officer, broke some speed records, and actually got to the point during the war patrol when there weren't enough Japanese ships to sink that he welded a rocket launcher on the front of his submarine so he could shoot at things on land. In this particular time, he was trying to select a landing party to set up explosives and blow up the bridge just as the Japanese train was coming across to bring munitions. So this is a brief quote. "I isolated myself in my cabin and with drawn curtains and service records to list the men in the landing party, for they might have to land this very night. With everyone eager to go, there have been hints that favoritism had influenced previous selections. This time, no one would know how the party was selected. I needed the strong, smart, and dependable, as well as the widespread representation from the various ratings. My secret criteria were, first, no married men, except for electrician Hatfield because of his knowledge of railroads. He was a must. Second, members of all departments. Third, half regular Navy, half Naval Reserve. And fourth, at least half had to have been Boy Scouts, where they learned how to handle themselves in medical emergencies and in the woods. So even back in the times of World War II, we were recognizing the tie in our community between the military service and our Boy Scouts. And it's particularly relevant as we stand here at the Veterans Memorial and can look across. The most visible is Eagles Landing there, and various scouting projects that we've supported in the community here at this corner. It's been just over 20 years since I earned my commission in the U.S. Navy. And although, as I found out on Monday with my daughter's program, the uniform's a little bit tighter than it used to be, I can still remember the pride that I felt serving the country just like it was yesterday. And I dug out my submarine officer dolphins for the day here. We all have different reasons for joining, ranging from volunteering to support the war effort in World War II. Some were drafted into service for Vietnam, and like myself, special college programs or the GI Bill, or some in response to the events at September 11th. But in the end, all that have served have done so to protect the freedoms that we enjoy in this great city, state, and country. For the veterans that are here today, and friends and family that have loved ones that have served or are currently serving, I'm sure that you will understand when I say being a part of our armed forces is not just a job. It is something that changes you and your family for the rest of your life. These changes start early in military service. Often start with a fresh new haircut, learning how to salute, stand at attention, and speak the language. And for all of you non-Navy veterans, I apologize, I'm a little skewed here for my Navy vernacular. I, sir, is a response to acknowledge an order, where yes, sir, is an answer to a question. Port is on the left side of the ship, starboard's on your right. Make sure that you're facing forward when you are doing that assessment. And despite what you see in the movies, at least my drill instructor did not like sir sandwiches, the sir, yes, sir. The bathrooms are latrines, unless you're in the Navy, and then we call them heads. It's a long story. And for me, reminding my wife and children to get an American flag from the government and to play taps at my funeral. And if you ask my children why, they'll tell you taps will make people cry whether they liked you or not. For some, the changes are not as superficial. I'm sure you've heard stories about World War II or Vietnam veterans that rarely speak of their service. They often internalize or suppress some of the painful experiences that they went through and work through the loss of friends and, in some cases, survivor's guilt. And our reactions have varied over the years. Following World War II, we saw great celebrations and homecomings. And in Vietnam, some returned home to protests. Today, our veterans are facing a different struggle as they return back from fighting a very different type of war. As we engage an enemy that doesn't recognize borders, doesn't wear traditional uniforms, and they're fighting a very non-traditional manner of warfare. Our men and women in uniform are deployed for extended periods of time away from their families and often asked to make multiple deployments, all without a clearly defined finish line. All of this has put a strain on our service members and their families and is contributing to an increase in service member depression and suicides. We all owe them and all those who have served a debt of gratitude that we may never be able to repay. In closing, I would like to read a quote from remarks that President Kennedy gave on August 1st, 1963 in Annapolis, Maryland. Although this quote references the naval service of young men, I would argue that today it applies to both men and women serving in all of our armed forces. And I quote, "I can imagine a no more rewarding career, and any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy." As you all go back to work today and continue on in your normal day-to-day lives, I would like to make a request. When you see a service member in uniform or a veteran wearing a hat, t-shirt, or jacket to indicate their service, stop for a moment, shake his or her hand, and say, "Thank you for your service." They have all earned it, and we all appreciate their sacrifice for our country. Thank you for your time and your attendance today. God bless Rochester Hills, and God bless the United States of America.
Well done by the Navy, let me tell you. Okay, at this time, we are going to have the commanders of the different veterans groups come up. Will the American Legion veteran commander come up?
Over the years, our American military veterans joined up for a number of reasons. Back in the draft, a number didn't have a big choice, but they went. Lots of others joined for patriotism, job training, adventure, travel, etc. But by and large, wherever they came from in America, black, white, men, women, they all came to be directed to goals, which led to the ultimate goal, the defense and protection of America. You were told you will work together to complete the mission, to get the job done. You were told the job to do and who you served with. If you like these people, great. If you didn't, that was tough. You will all work together. I remember back in the 50s and 60s, a good percentage of Congress and the Senate were veterans of World War II and Korea. They were Republicans and Democrats, as of today. They ran the gauntlet from liberal to conservative. But for the most part, there seemed to be a respect and a civility even in their disputes. These people were veterans, and for all their differences, they realized that they were sent to Washington or the state and local capitals to carry out a mission. a goal to help the people who sent them there and for the greater good of all Americans. I see the young men and women in our military today and cannot help but feel the greatest respect and admiration. How does America keep bringing them forth? I know America's newest veterans will carry these traditions forward in all their endeavors. God bless America, and God bless our veterans.
Disabled veterans of Chapter 129, please come up. Commander. VFW Veterans of Foreign Wars 3908, Commander, please come up.
Good morning. My name is John Benzick. I'm the commander of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 3908. I'd like to thank everyone for coming here today to honor our veterans, their wives, husbands, siblings, brothers and sisters, and parents. Today we honor all veterans, serving and those who have served. As you know, Veterans Day is a federal holiday. It is observed on November 11th in the United States. It coincides with occasions in other countries, as mentioned before, with Remembrance Sunday in Great Britain. The choice of this date is no coincidence. It falls on the anniversary of the day in 1918 when hostilities between Germany and Allied forces ceased, heralding the end of the First World War. Veterans Day was celebrated for the first time a year later in 1919 at the proclamation of President Wilson, who urged solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the service of our country. The armistice became effective on the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th month. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming today and remembering our veterans. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, we'll have the chaplain's prayer. Chaplain from the VFW Post 3908, Pete the Boulder.
Morning. Please remove your hats. Our Lord, today I thank you for our veterans, for their willingness to risk all so that our nation might dwell in peace and safety. May they find the honor and recognition they truly deserve. I pray that you will heal the physical, spiritual, psychological wounds that these veterans have suffered. Bring a lasting peace to those who mourn the loss of comrades. Help them to find your love and mercy so they may cope with the actions they may have and had to take place while serving our country. Make them realize that the rules of engagement in war do not always follow the laws of Christianity, but give them solace by your scripture passages and show them that sometimes battle is necessary for the common good. Amen.
Could we have the placing of the wreaths?
Arm. Order. Arm.
Lowering of the flags, or the flag. Take it all the way down and bring it up half step.
Arm.
At this time, we're going to have an honor guard 21 gun salute. So prepare yourself for a little noise.
Ready. Hey. Fire. Hey. Fire. Hey. Fire. Three, man. Fire. Order. Fire.
Closing remarks. For one thing, it's never so few have done so much for so many. And I'm not sure if it's said that way fully correct, but it's the way I feel. And I'm talking about our veterans and the people that have served this country. We should be thankful that we're living in this country. I've been places where you couldn't drink the water. People didn't have homes to live in. It was bad, real bad. So when you're able to live in this country and protest some of the stupid things that I see that go on, I just shake my head. And I think how lucky we are. We don't have somebody beating on our door, kicking in our door because we might have spoke bad about the government or what have you. They've taken satellite pictures of the world, and as they go across the world, they focus in on Korea. Well, you can see South Korea. It looks like Disneyland. North Korea, not so much. It's nothing. It's just blacked out. So that's what communists will get you. And for me, I feel very, very fortunate to stand here in front of you, of all of you, and being able to work for the city that I love for 42 years, have a wonderful wife for 41 years, and a blessed family that she's provided for me. And with that, she's my rock. She's also got my six. And all I can say is, God bless America. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Mayor Brian Barnett of the City of Rochester Hills. Here to say thank you, first of all, to our veterans. We just had a wonderful celebration here at Veterans Memorial Point honoring those members of our community who have given the ultimate sacrifice and those who continue to serve to honor our nation and to really provide us all of the tremendous freedoms that we enjoy as Americans. I also want to say thanks to those of you watching, to the Korean community, and to all those who supported me in this most recent write-in re-election bid. was very honored to have earned the support of the residents of Rochester Hills for a historic third term through the write-in process, and I'm excited to be back here and to continue to work with your organization and all the other great folks out there that make our community one of the top 10 places to live in the entire United States of America. Well, thank you for your continued support. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thanks.